What's up, Ascensioneer? Thank you so much for tuning into the Ascend podcast. I have an extra special guest for you today. He is a returning champion. This is the Jordan Rahme, aka Liquid Gold, aka Mr. Evolved Humanity. This brother right here is constantly growing, learning, stretching, transforming, and he's guiding us through these journeys, through his coaching practices, through his crypto investing infrastructures and courses, through the ways that he shows us how to balance all of that energy, that creativity that shows up as liquid gold, the sound ceremonies, guiding people through these incredibly deep transformational experiences, and the structured masculine, boom, coming in with potency and purity. So in this episode, you're going to discover so much about yourself and how to actually live a more purposeful and fulfilling life. What more could we ask for?
When I am playing sets traditionally, there isn't a big differentiation between me and what a lot of other DJs and musicians can do. But taking people on a journey, having these really intentional containers and this creative freedom to move and guide and facilitate the energy in a way that's very present with the group, that's what my highest and best use is not a DJ, it's a sound ceremonialist. Just like in a medicine journey, right? There is somebody who is facilitating, holding, and guiding the flow of energy, inside of which people are having transformational experiences with themselves, confronting aspects of themselves, moving through things. Things are challenging, things are blissful. This isn't just banger after banger. This is a journey. And it's a journey with intention, where a lot of shit comes up, to be able to move through it, release it, clarify it, purify it. I don't want to be doing this DJ hustle mentality of proving myself that I deserve a shot. I don't want to be doing that. It's not the life I want to live. And that's not the value I carry within myself. And I get to buffer that with this experience of entitlement or possible arrogance, where one can say, like, I'm too good for this. And it's important to be aware of that piece of arrogance, entitlement, toxic confidence, while also being a stand for your worth in your highest and best use. I think there's a tremendous difference between I'm too good for this and this isn't my highest and best use. And it's my duty to be a stand for my highest, not just for myself, for everybody who loves me. Me being an anchor for my highest keeps me in that frequency of the man, the leader, the father, the husband, whatever that may be, even friend. Standing for your value keeps you anchored in that frequency, which spills over into everybody that's in your jurisdiction, everybody that's connected to you. So tying that back in, whoring myself out for these low value DJ opportunities that you can just kind of interchange people out, not my highest and best use. And it's very taxing on my energy. And that takes away from things like deep dharmic purpose, like evolved humanity. And I had put that on the back burner to focus exclusively on liquid gold, right? I'm on a DJ, I'm going to produce music, I'm going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And pausing, zooming out and seeing, where is this train taking me? Okay, so now my life is a traveling musician, where now I'm on the road, I'm touring. I'm almost 35. I don't want to be touring 6 to 8 months out of the year to make money and make ends meet. As much as I love music and I'm called to music, and I know that's a huge part of what I'm here to do, the lifestyle I want to live does not look like being a touring musician where I'm sleeping until noon and playing a show deep into the night, rinse, repeat, moving cities. That's not the life I want to live. So that was deep introspection for me to really take a step back and recognize, where's my time going? Where's my energy? Where's my mental focus? And it was disproportionately focused on creating these music opportunities and proving myself. And that's not what I want things to look like. And then in the back burner, there's all these other things that I'm focused on. Like, I'm obsessed with crypto. I have been able to create financial wealth and stability as an entrepreneur And after leaving my corporate job, through effective, responsible investment and trading through crypto, it's unlocked all sorts of things for me. So I'm trading crypto to fund my life, to fuel this liquid gold project that isn't monetizing at the rate in order for me to live the life that I want. And you start to connect these dots where people ask me for advice. People want my input, like, hey, I'm hearing about crypto. Crypto's coming back. What should I do? What should I buy? And I'm telling people all this stuff, giving them free alpha, so to speak, because I'm already so invested and involved. And then when people bring these reflections like, dude, why don't you structure this knowledge, this information, instead of having these one-off conversations, actually show up and provide clarity around this? And it's not just crypto, just in general. I'm obsessed about health. And now we have Kennedy coming in, and we're already getting rid of all of these carcinogenic food dyes. Thank goodness. And we're starting to phase out seed oils, and seed oils are like the unspoken devil in our food system, where all of these things people are now having awareness of. It's just hitting a radar, but it's a lot, and we don't know who to trust, what sources to go to. Right. So there's all these different ways where people are like, I want to be healthier. I want to be wealthier. I want to be happier, but I don't know what that looks like. And when we start to integrate and refine this information, this wisdom, this experience, think of the path that we've been on for the last 5 years, getting involved in Fit for Service, in this beautiful blend of like business, spirituality, emotional healing, community. All right. We start to synthesize all these different things that we've gone through and make it simple, make it potent. So that's been this big shift, coming out of this exclusive focus on liquid gold while trying to hustle in the background. And instead it's like, actually, don't forget, my dharmic purpose is to teach and guide and support people, and not just in their healing process, right? Being healthier, being happier, understanding how we've been traumatized and wounded throughout our life, all of these things. So that's been the big shift in the last couple of months, is realizing the way that I was investing my time, energy, mental focus is not actually in alignment with creating the lifestyle that I want to live, which meant I needed to shift priorities, change behaviors, change focus. And that's kind of what's leading us here and having a different conversation from liquid gold to evolved humanity and everything that's going on right now and what's still ahead, because it's happening fast. Trump takes over in 2 days. Today's Saturday, January 18th. And loving, he's about to be president 48 hours. Dude just rolled out a meme coin, and it's already at 30 some billion in market cap. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
I saw this stat. If you got in the first 15 minutes, you've made more return than you invested in the S&P 500 in 1980 to now.
Wow.
Talking a half century of stock market gains in hours because you aped into a meme coin. And I'm not saying that's responsible, but I'm saying that's happening today, and that never could have happened before just a few years ago. Things are different, and they're going to continue getting different at an exponentiating pace. Are we going to be behind the curve, or do we want to stay in front of it? I'm trying to stay in front of it. I know a lot of other people are too.
Oh, wow.
Just kind of went in.
Dude, I love it. I love it, bro. You have so much clarity in the way that you synthesize information and ideas, and just the emotional awareness too. Like liquid gold is the artist project. It sings, it's your soul singing. Like I see your energy. I've experienced many of your, you know, tapestries that you've created, like sonic tapestries, and the way that you speak about the energy and the healing or the trauma that can be inflicted by the person that's actually the sonic sorcerer at that moment. And it's deeply profound and powerful. But the mechanical side, the business side, brain heart coherence, right? It's like it's like all heart. It's 95% heart, but it's only 5% of the mind, the actual sustenance, the resources that we need right now. But in crypto, it's like almost entirely of the mind. It's like 95% mind, only 5% heart. And there's so much to sift through and sort through. So it makes sense that actually for expression to be balanced for someone like yourself, then the resources, the mechanical side would be through the technology. And then the heart side would be through the heartistry, the artistry.
I love that. You always got those puns, baby. Yeah, you nailed it. And a realization that I just had processing, because I'm a verbal processor, hence me using a lot of words sometimes. The polarity dynamics between art and engineering. Art, music, liquid gold, fundamentally feminine, right? That's the muse element. And that's where I tap into my emotions as well. But this other piece, crypto, evolved humanity, that's masculine, right? That's business. It's metrics, it's numbers and charts and technicals. It's marketing, advertising, KPIs, managing a team, leading a team. So taking a step back and recognizing what sort of polarity dynamics are most valuable for us at this stage in our life. On my end, when I left my, corporate job in 2016, it was all masculine all the time. I'm working 55, 60-hour weeks. I would basically drink and party on the weekends. I'm like 40, 50 pounds heavier at that time than I am now. There was no real heart in what I did. And then when I shifted, I did the classical, spiritual, especially spiritual male thing, where I started to disregard money, disregard worldly possessions. And something I've been saying is like, spiritual dudes are fucking pussies these days. And I'm a spiritual dude, and there is a part of me that's gotten way too soft. And, look at the political climate. We have this spectrum between, liberalism and conservatism. Recognize the polarity dynamics there. Liberal is feminine. Liberal is change, progress, evolution. Conservative is keep that shit the same. Don't change nothing. Right? So the balance is in the middle. There is a sweet spot between things are the way they are for a reason. They have worked a certain way. Don't change it. And also certain things don't work. Let those things die. Let those things evolve. So these polarity dynamics show up in all different aspects of life. And just speaking for myself at this day and age, I'll be 35 in a couple of months. I no longer want to chase nightlife and being this alcohol-fueled environment. I love music festivals. I love concerts. I love performing. But my lifestyle, I don't want my life to look that way. You zoom out, what's in there? That's more of this kind of feminine, expressive, chaotic type place. That's not where I want to step into. Where I'm more focused on is creating the foundation for my best life. First and foremost for myself. And also as a man, and tying in that, like spirituality has made us so soft, right? It's all about like, oh, my intention is flow. My intention ain't flow.
Nope.
My intention is to be the riverbank that dictates the flow. That's masculinity.
Yes.
And that's the chapter that I'm stepping into. And I think collectively, we've had this really beautiful era of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. And I think that will continue to happen, especially with the masses. But speaking for myself and a lot of our community, I think we as men overcorrected and became fucking soft, right? What about devotion? What about commitment? What about undeniable, unwavering focus on priorities? That means not flowing. That means being such an anchor rooted so deep that no matter what tornado, hurricane of life, of emotions, of partner comes through, we're immovable. That's what we need. We need healed masculinity. So for me, letting go of this creative obsession and shifting it from primary to secondary and allowing that to be a hobby that gets to flourish in its own time and in its own way without hustling these gigs here, right? Just a bunch of house flips basically for 3 hours. That's not what I do, right? So letting that go and focusing on how do I grow as a man? How do I mature? How do I become the highest expression of my own masculinity? Recognizing like the silly, flamboyant part of me, he's always going to be there. He's always going to be there. I don't need to flex on that or establish that any further. How about that strength? How about that grown man? How about that father energy?
That's right. That's right.
Right.
What's coming up for me is it's been now over 6 months that I've committed to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, period, at the gym, period. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Want to know where I'm at? I'm at the gym. It's incredible.
How's that feel?
That's how it feels. And what's amazing about it.
Yeah, what's behind that feeling, right? Like that feeling, what else? What else comes with that?
Solidarity, confidence, like the ability to actually protect. There's focus. There's belief in self at a new level. There's timeless wisdom that flows through. If I want to be stronger, exercise. The more consistent I am, the more I'm creating clarity to my whole body that it needs to strengthen in this area. And as you were describing everything with evolved humanity and liquid gold, it makes perfect sense to Pareto principle it, right? And 80-20, both of them. 20%, the play, liquid gold, the fun, the sauce, and then 80% masculine at this phase of building, right? And it's kind of interesting how it unfolds where, strong men create weak people. Weak people, collapse and destroy the society or whatever. But then we must become strong to then rebuild. And so it's that constant evolution of what am I dying to today? What little boy in me is dying that's evolving into a man? Where is the prince versus where is the king? We had a time that we started today. Both of us were early. I hope.
Exactly. You just recognize the changes in our responsibility levels. Think of a year or two ago, we'll show up to something like this. And it's like, let's just see how it goes without much structure. We'll do a mic check probably after our start time. Things are different. We're different. We get to be different. People rely on us in a different way. Boys, nobody can rely on. Men, we need to rely on. We need that. Like women are sick of being the men. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pushback, and that's okay. But what I am realizing through direct relationships, through being open and receptive to critical feedback, is that most women are so deeply in their masculine from a place of survival because they haven't been able to rely on men to handle those elements. In other words, women are taking on that role out of necessity, not out of desire. And what they really want to do, for the most part, is to be nurtured and taken care of so they can lean fully into the feminine expression, the flow. Because something that I have really, really recognized and I'm starting to value more than ever before is the female's intuition. And I've questioned it in the past from this immature boy type place of like, but what sort of tangible, scientific, measurable evidence do you have supporting that thing? Let's waste time scientific methoding this shit. The reality is that it's beyond science. There is a woman's intuition that something's wrong with my baby. Well, what did you feel? Where'd you feel it? What did something happen? Are you projecting fear? Fuck all that. It's how a boy responds to that situation, right? A man receives, whoa, there's something showing up for her, whether it's 100% accurate or just a little accurate. What matters is her nervous system
Bingo.
is having a response in real time. And me as a man, we talk about holding space, protecting that energetic emotional space, right? Your woman is in a process. Your woman is in a trigger. We don't need to slide in, shake her around. What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? How can I help? How about this? Protect the ring, protect the circle around her so she can safely sink into the experience to uncover whatever is inside of that. That's what she needs her man to do. Not swoop in and try to fix her, but honor her intuition, honor her process of uncovering her own intuition. And we're just a solid foundation upon which she can have that experience.
Bingo.
And that means we got to stop being fucking pussies. It's that simple, and not people don't like that language, but a part of me recognizing who I am and the way that I talk, like that's a part of my expression. And if I receive a certain level of feedback of, hey, the vulgarity, the profanity that you use feels immature and it triggers my nervous system, that gives me the opportunity to receive that feedback, to receive that critical feedback, and recognizes the way that I'm expressing, landing with the intention I want to be received with. If not, there's an opportunity to shift my expression. But something that's really important to me is keeping it real and not like putting on this show. That's what princes do. Princes put on the king's crown and run around the castle acting as if he's him. That crown sliding down his head like that Disney movie. You ain't a king. Kings keep it real. And kings have the humility to receive critical feedback. Because if the king isn't supporting the jurisdiction, ideally, he gets to shift because it ain't about him. The prince, it's all about him. The king, it ain't about him. The king is of service. And the king makes the tough decisions and implements them. And that's really where we're at collectively. We've been in a period of weak men make hard times. That's where we're at. Weak men have created hard times. And guess what? We're in the early stages of hard times. And I don't want to bring a doomsday perspective, but I think we all feel the massive changes that have already taken place this decade. And with the research that I do and the information that I focus on, the uncomfortable happenings of the world, things are coming. And we can say what it is. Things are coming, things are changing, and weak men have created hard times. So what's going to happen from here? These hard times are going to create strong men.
Strong men.
And we need to alleviate this pressure on the women to have things figured out, on the women to lead, the women to take charge, make all the money, to call the shots, to have the, flight boarding pass on their phone, to know where the gate is. That's our job. That's our duty. So that's been a big shift within me over the past year, is recognizing where my own polarity has been out of balance. And then I take a step back. Wow, how is our collective polarity out of balance? Through my individual experience as a portal, as a microcosm. And now, as leaders, look at everything that you're doing. Look at the platform that you've created. Look at the quality that you have brought to the table. Even from the last time we sat down and had a conversation to now. Presencing what you just shared. We both showed up early, right? I got a solid camera. We mic checked, making sure everything is pristine. Why? It's our job.
That's right.
It's our duty. And everything that you've created, this platform, this reach, right? The attention to detail with which you go about your artistry is with an engineering mindset, bringing that polarity balance, right? That exquisite, impeccable commitment to excellence. That's a change that I have seen in you. And that's where respect has been developed for you. I've always loved you. I've always respected you. But there are layers to respect. And real men doing real shit, taking things seriously, creating change, being who they say they are, that cultivates respect. And men need to be respected and earning that respect, not forcing it, not threatening it, earning it. And you, brother, you've been earning it. I see you. And that's why you're one of the few that I want to continue connecting, deepening, rooting with, because you're on a similar path. And we get to support one another as men on this journey because we need each other. Like for real, we need each other.
Aho. Thank you so much, brother. I received that fully. I just had God bumps flowing. Just receiving that, man. It's wild to just feel back, even to envision when I nearly got swept away in the ocean by a riptide. When I came back and I was sharing this with you, you were like rubbing my back, like giving me the soft feminine energy while simultaneously saying, "What the fuck were you doing?" That caused deep transformation. Because if it was just, "What the fuck are you doing?" well, then you're just a hard ass. And I'm not ready to receive that. But you actually embodied a holistic being is inclusive of all the masculine and feminine polarity. Masculine, the point, and the sphere simultaneously. The feminine, everything that exists in between, all the polarity, the dance of that energy. So in that healed masculine, it's interesting because these old school paradigms that you're describing, man do this, woman do this, it actually feels aligned when the person's not doing it from this state of, well, I'm only man, I'm only masculine, I'm only rigid. It's like, no, a healed person is encompassing their heart and their mind, right? Tapping into the energy. And so in that moment, you were able to look at me deeply in my soul and cause me to wake up in a new way because you had that masculine and that feminine energy that was needed for me to be able to receive and then transmute that state of being. So, bro, I appreciate those reflections immensely. And it's right back at you. You know, I feel like we've been hanging out every single day and interacting every single day. And it's been some time, but that's what quality relationship is about, because I don't need to see what's going on in your day to day to feel where your energy is at, and you're expanding and you're evolving and your kingship is getting more and more clear. So kudos.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Yeah, what comes up around that envision experience is I didn't show up for you from a place of punishment, trying to teach you a lesson through guilt or shame. It came from a place of, bro, I love you. I see you. How dare you? Bro, how dare you put yourself in that position? You're way too fucking important. You know, that's love. Clearly, like, I can't even talk about it without emotion coming up for me. I see you. I recognize the role you're here to play. And that tough love is sometimes exactly what we need, especially as men.
Yes.
Bro, this ain't a game. This ain't a game. This is way beyond that. You are too good to get swept away in the ocean. You're too valuable. You're better than that, bro. How dare you? And what do you need?
Yep.
Got you. Not just on an island. Figure this out. Figure out how that happened. I'm here if you want to process. I'm here if you need a reminder I will be a stand for your value.
Mm.
And that means uncomfortable conversations. And sometimes that means tough decisions get to be made. I'm a stand for the standard, a stand for excellence, a stand for manifesting potential.
Mm.
And tough decisions sometimes get made when people aren't living up to it. They're not living up to the standard. Do you keep somebody on your team, whether it's a football team, a business team, if they're consistently not performing up to the standard? A boy is scared to have the conversation. A man does what is needed.
Mm.
And sometimes that person, oftentimes, gets exactly what they need, because what's being transmitted is the way that you're showing up is no longer going to be tolerated. And frankly, you don't want to be showing up in the way that you're showing up. So as scary as this is, it's a gift to you, because you aren't allowed to continue skating by below the standard, skating by, not living up to your potential. Won't stand for that, won't tolerate it. And that forces transformation, or it forces a complete breakdown.
Yep.
And typically it's the breakdown that leads to the transformation. But those tough conversations are what's necessary to take things seriously sometimes, and being able to your point, do it from a place of love and care and belief, as opposed to superiority, arrogance, power, or control. That's the shadow masculine. We don't need any more of that. So thanks for bringing that example back on. I forgot about it, but I was brought right back into it once you brought it forward.
That's the power, because that's how your soul knew to connect with my soul at that time. And that moment literally it changed my life. And in every micro moment, the life is changing, right? Which timeline am I choosing? We're in infinite now. It's always now. In the future, it's just a new now, right? And so what timeline am I choosing? And that was a huge break in timelines. It said, okay, which direction am I going? Boyhood, manhood, princeliness, kingship.
Yeah, one of the biggest epiphanies that I've had over the past few months, and the way that it comes out, shocker, is a little bit vulgar. It's like, shut the fuck up, be about it.
He's the strict guard.
Be about it. Done talking. People are done hearing. Nobody wants to hear about what you want to do, who you want to be. That's great. That's cute to want. You know what's real? Becoming. Shut up, lay bricks. And guess what? In the spiritual space, that's typically over effeminate. Don't want to hear that. Shut up. That's disrespectful. You're gaslighting my experience. What feels true for me is to be in flow. Okay. I'm not telling you what's true for you or what isn't true for you. I'm telling you that that energy is not in alignment with my energy, my intention, my focus, my goals.
Bingo.
I need to align to people who are. We become who we surround ourselves with. It just happens. It's osmosis. It's electromagnetic. It is almost entirely unconscious. It rarely is it like, oh, Tyler said that thing. Let me make a note of it and let me rehearse it so I can say it in a conversation. It doesn't work like that. It's unconscious attunement. We start to align and position. We start to match postures. Crazy studies about couples who start to look like one another. Their facial structures start to resemble one another. Why? Because they're experiencing one another's emotional states, right? So they're tuning and to a degree becoming one. So we start to morph and shift and find this in between. So whether it's a business partner, creative partner, a romantic partner, you better be damn sure that you want to be more like this person. You want to think more like them, feel more like them, behave more like them, because you're gonna. So if we remove this, they are, she's so attractive, or he's so manly, or they're so whatever the stories, our belief systems about what we think that we want, because we don't know shit. The times where I go through this exercise with my private coaching clients, because I teach a lot of relationship coaching, a lot of successful professionals who they've dominated their careers, they've checked all the boxes, and they're in this place like, why am I still single? Or I'm in a relationship and I feel completely unfulfilled. Oh, so we go through this experiment. Or what is it that you want? What do you seek? Oh, I want them to engage in these activities. I want them to look like this, feel like this. And what happens? Yeah.
Yeah. Am I being that?
Yeah.
Is that the want, the prince that's looking up and saying, oh, well, yeah, I
Yeah.
want a queen, but I'm not king. So why would a queen want to be with a prince?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have these two facets. This one of I seek, I desire, but I'm not a match. And then I become a victim. I want my queen. What kind of
You're going to get a princess.
pipsqueak is that? I want to be respected. Okay, well, the posture being carried is not one of respect. You're forcing the other person basically grow out of alignment to show respect to that thing. Right? So being the thing, doing your part is one. And this other part is we don't actually know what we want. We think we know what we want. But this is a pattern that I see over and over. People will go through and say, I want them to look like this, talk like this, act like this, be like this, have this sort of passion. And then the person that they actually ignite with looks and operates a little bit differently. Now, I had a belief system that my dream woman has to be obsessed with music and obsessed with my style of music, right? Like that's a non-negotiable. Well, when I've had these experiences of close connection with women, I find that there can be this almost competitive rivalry, collaboration dynamic that starts to come up, right? It's because we're both sharing a similar space. And I've learned through experience that that's actually not what I want.
Bingo.
I want music to be my jurisdiction. I don't want my chick at Burning Man, like we're running to her set, we're running to my set. She's got gigs, we got this and that. I'm carrying her bags and she's running around this. Like what my ideal is, not speaking for anybody else, what my ideal is that my chick is supporting me in liquid gold and having the time of her life. And she's being a diplomat of this culture, this energy that this music project is around. I don't necessarily want her to be doing her own thing. I want her to be a diplomat and an extension of liquid
Bingo.
gold and the energy that I'm up to. That's my ideal, right? And reel back to polarity dynamics. In my mind, I thought I wanted a masculine woman who is also doing the music thing alongside me. That's not what I want. More of what I want is to be the masculine point and provide, protect, nurture, cherish, adore my woman and be supported by her, be respected by her. So what I thought I wanted wasn't actually true, which just goes to show that we don't really know what's best for us. We think that we do, but that's based on past history and data. We have an idea. We go through negative experiences. We go through challenging moments and growth. And we start to realize like, that's toxic. Don't want more of that. This feels good. I want more of this. But something that I've found, both within myself and within people that I've worked with, is that in just speaking about romantic connection and chemistry, is you see someone, they look like who I think I want, but something just isn't there, right? That's why app dating doesn't work too well. Oh, she looks like what I want. Oh, she has the interests that I'm looking for, right? Checking boxes, checking boxes. And then you meet and the chemistry is rarely there. There's just something off.
Hmm.
Right. And conversely, sometimes it's like not what I'm looking for, not my type on the surface, but I just can't get enough of you. I just can't be without you. Like I can be, but a part of me feels missing, right? That chemistry is not mental. It's not cognitive. It's felt, right? So with a lot of this, to integrate these various tangents, a lot of it comes back to polarity dynamics, right? The masculine is discerned, decisive, knows what it wants and goes out and gets it. The feminine is open and receptive and receives the flow and is moved by the flow of things. And part of being a grown man is knowing when to open, receive, and flow, and knowing when to root the fuck down. Let the tornado come through. Let the hurricane come through, right? Your woman's emotions. Crypto rug pull. The entire market capitulates 20% basically overnight. How can you stand firm?
Yep.
And be immovable by the ever-changing forces of the weather, of the markets, of politics, of our women, of our parents, our children. That's what being a real man is to me.
Oh, man, it's so awesome to witness in our friendship just each other's growth and the reflections. I can see how much that you're really pouring in with your clients, and that's the vantage point that I got to. Okay, so instead of going into a personal anecdote here, I have a question for
Yeah,
you.
let's break up the seriousness. Let's play a little.
Well, what I'm curious about is to what degree do the boxes being checked or the pre-framed story of who ideal partner is, to what degree is that true and kind of like rigid, right? Versus the intoxicated love, but maybe isn't checking the boxes. And because the polarity, clearly the spark comes from that difference, that separation. And so, how does one navigate, especially at the beginning when the emotions are really, the chemicals are going crazy inside the body, the emotions are really high. And it's like, I don't know, but I'm feeling this dance. I'm feeling this gravity. I'm feeling this pull towards this person. But I feel like I know like a soulmate kind of caliber partner, what that feels like inside my body. So, how do you navigate that dynamic? How do you know yeah,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that dynamic?
Yeah. And how do you discern what's true and what's real versus what is a chemical experience taking place in us?
Mhm.
So what comes through is you have two paths really. One path is trauma bond. A wound in me recognizes a wound in you, and there's familiarity here. Familiarity from the past. It's this concept that if you grew up in an abusive household, you're highly likely to get into an abusive partnership because abuse is what you know. And it's paradoxical because on one hand, and this comes down to what you think you want versus what you actually connect with, right? In your mind, I want a safe man who would never lay a hand on me, who would never raise his voice at me. Then why do you keep dating all these assholes? I hear you say what you want, but there's a part of you that's magnetizing, attracting, connecting, and engaging with this, right? So one path can be a trauma bond, which is repeating the past. We know this story, and this story is the path of least resistance. And that's what our, mammalian system wants to do. The path of least resistance, conserve energy. That's one pathway. And that's where an incredible amount of maturity and discernment takes place of, am I repeating a pattern with you? Do you remind me of who I've been with in the past? And we're doing this dance again. The other pathway is there is some sub/unconscious connection that cannot cognitively, logistically be supported or validated, right? But we know there is some sort of undeniable chemistry taking place here. And you go through the thought experiment and the discernment of, is this a trauma bond and a pattern being repeated? And if you disregard it, then you start moving down this other pathway. All right, so now that we've completed that other pathway, let's get into the sauce here. Because now this is the real conversation. Is there something going on here that's unexplainable and undeniable? What is this? And what comes up for me is that in this honeymoon phase of exploring an initial spark and connection, as long as a person isn't mentally ill, deceitful and manipulative and, love bombing you from a place of power and control, which, separate tangent, narcissism, we overuse this term nowadays. Very few people are clinical narcissists. It's more of a wounded projection when we use that. So recognizing that if somebody isn't completely mentally ill and deceitful, then the way that we show up in the honeymoon phase is aligned to the version of us that we want to be in partnership, right? In that honeymoon phase, we're able to hold the vision or sort of carry the mask of who we want to be, how we want to show up. It isn't necessarily our baseline beingness. So when there's an initial spark, the man shows up as the man he wants to be. The woman shows up as the woman she wants to be. I love the woman you want to be, because that's the only version of you that I know so far. I love the man you want to be. Only version so far. Right? And you fall in love with this idealistic state because you're both presenting as ideal, because it's a very small data set. And then what happens? The deeper you go and the more time moves on, there's a reconciliation between who you want to be and who you actually are as a baseline. So what I believe is when there is that undeniable chemistry, you've removed trauma bond, you've removed mental illness, and there is just some next level shit going on right here. You feel it, I feel it, this feels real. Then it becomes, in this honeymoon phase, let's recognize who my ideal is, who your ideal is, because our ideals are a match. And then when that starts to fade, if there's real commitment, if there's real devotion, real interest in pursuing, then you support one another in your becomings of that ideal. And that's where dynamics fall apart, is when the ideal starts to fade, baseline presents, find this uncomfortable recognition. Our ideals, amazing. Oh my. But our baselines?
Yeah.
Flunky.
Ideals are always amazing. They're called ideals. That's the purpose. It's like, what can I imagine? But who am I in any moment? It reminds me of, the legend Dave Chappelle. He would mention when you first go on a date that it's your representative that's meeting up.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, my
Exactly. Your
representative
PR
over
person.
here, my PR person, representing the ideal king version of Ty. That's Tyson, by the way. We've named the archetype. I love that, man. This is one of the things that I just love about you so much. You have such an ability to take well, I think we all feel in different ways, right? Like the subtle energetics, and create a container that feels coherent and can really give direction and clarity there. I mean, you said it, the riverbanks. You do an amazing job of this, brother.
Thank you. Doing my best. We're all in process. We are all in the music production space. We're all WIPs. We're all WIPs.
Work in progress.
And there's got to be grace for ourselves, grace for one another, recognizing like none of us have arrived. Our parents haven't arrived. The presidents haven't arrived. Like nobody's arrived. We're all on this never-ending journey of becoming. And there are certain spiritual, religious belief systems of like literal eternity, like not even just becoming in this life, but like you are always changing, you are always becoming for literal infinity of the time dimension. Right? So when we just accept that we're all works in progress, we can have grace for one another, and also recognize that since we're not fixed, we're changeable, we're malleable. I would rather be a person that is to a degree malleable, right? That's the integration of the feminine. And I would rather be romantically, creatively, professionally, with people that have an element of malleability to them. They don't believe that they are perfect, a finished product, that they're always right, and that they have everything figured out. So we can work together collaboratively in this process of becoming. We as men can hold one another accountable and hold one another in this uplifting space of, brother, I see who you truly are. I know who you are. And the way that you're showing up, not meeting the standard. That's men showing up for one another. Is not this like blissful empowerment. I've been rereading The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. And one element that really stuck out to me because it triggered me was the feminine grows through affirmation. Baby, you look amazing when you work out. Oh, I love that dress. I love the way you ... The feminine grows through validation. The masculine grows through criticism. Tell me what I'm doing wrong so I can correct it. You get an exam back. You got a 98%. The masculine would go to, what'd I get wrong? And in order to have that pull, there has to be incredible security and humility rooted in self-worth to recognize that getting a 98% doesn't make you bad or imperfect. It's literally a measuring stick showing you where you're at, highlighting where the opportunity is. So the feminine grows through hearing what you did right. The masculine grows through hearing what you did wrong. And why this triggered me was because that's something that I've struggled with lately. This piece of me that has felt insecure, out of alignment, in this repulsion towards critical feedback. Why? Why is that? And without tangenting down that line, what matters is that was a microcosmic example that I was able to zoom out and recognize where my polarity dynamics have been at lately. My sensitivity towards criticism is a direct reflection of the feminine in me that has been overexpressed lately. And my denial or resistance to that criticism is the wounded masculine within me. And guess what? We're all works in progress. So instead of like, oh, shame, bad, instead, ooh, opportunity. Oh, we're on a track here.
Yeah, that was confronting for me right there. As you shared, realized, okay, those areas that I'm unwilling to grow in, right? Unwilling to see that there's something that I could shift in my behavior. And that's where the triggering is. It feels like, oh, why am I insecure about this? If I'm secure, there's never a trigger. And so that divine masculine security that would come from that source, God connection, that life force that's flowing consistently. And yet there's been a lot of me historically. I grew up with a single mom. And so that nurture side was really ingrained. You know, you're a valedictorian. You hit it out the park when it comes to academics. I didn't even finish high school. I literally, so just that was very confronting for me to feel into, okay, that was an incredibly feminine approach to that first chapter of life. And I combine that with entrepreneurship, right? And creating systems and structures. But it's only now, like, if I'm honest, which I always want to be honest, but that's the confronting part. If I'm not actually secure to state that the amount of feminine energy that was flowing through me was much higher historically. And so now when it comes to that consistency, the commitment in the gym, my brothers, with my word, all those things are strengthening the masculine energy. And that's just allowing me to hold so much more of the feminine. But that little journey it just took us on, just took me through 30 plus years of life in a moment. And I felt it all somatically. And it's potent.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And one of the reasons why I have so much respect for you is your willingness to be vulnerable and honest and not act like you're perfect or you're a finished product, but recognizing development areas, growth opportunities within us. That's mature masculine. And what's really amazing in this kind of visual that I saw as you were articulating that is the seesaw, right? The seesaw, like feminine energy, masculine energy. And what's really powerful is if there are a bunch of bricks on the feminine side, you don't have to take the bricks off the feminine side. Instead, stack some bricks on the masculine side to balance those bad boys out.
Yeah.
Right. We don't need less of ourselves, but we get to integrate all of ourselves and strengthen parts of ourselves that bring balance, that bring coherence and cohesion. Right. So your femininity, right? Because you're this magical, intuitive, like wizard type. You and I have so much in common, yet we're built very differently. I am more of this, you know, dark skin, dark hair, dark eyes, very earthbound. Whereas you are a cosmic wizard, right? So fundamentally, that is a feminine trait, your intuition, your expression. That's your superpower. And the way to balance that superpower without negating it and disregarding it is stacking bricks on the other side, which is exactly what you are doing to bring yourself and your own polarity into balance. That's the work. And just like a slack line or a seesaw, it's in motion.
Yeah.
The point isn't a slot you just stand on a slack line. No. You ever watch Cam Nelson? It's insanity, right? Motion, finding equilibrium. So if you notice you're too uptight, it's like, bro, take a load off, relax, open up, right? Tell us what's going on, right? Too much masculine, bring in some feminine. And on the other end,
Yeah, and just to double click on it, man, that's exactly what you did for me at Envision. It's such a pivotal moment in life where it's like I felt my whole life flash before my eyes. And then, I visualized that my daughter doesn't have a father to grow up with. And that was terrifying. And so the fact that you had stacked bricks, like with our relationship, we have a very good balance of that masculine and feminine. We play a lot, like when we're in the music and like vibing and stuff, but yet we're also in workshops and we focus and we lock in and we have accountability with each other and we co-create on actual projects, Burning Man, Sonder, like running the music operations, et cetera. And so I've been picking up more of that engineering side and that planner, that builder, and it's been showing up so much in the men's council that I'm a part of. And, these ways that we have sparks. So with me, I have a lot of fire and water. And so, oh, interesting. Fire bracelet on the right, the masculine. Blue, water. This moment is the best moment. That was not planned. What? It's exactly it. The feminine receiving. And then this is Arcadia, right? The more beautiful world that our hearts know is possible. It's like, this is what it's all about. This is what a whole being to me is being a holy being, is to be a whole being, inclusive of the whole, all of the feminine, all of the masculine, not being afraid of any one of those things. And I appreciate your shout out on the vulnerability. That's an area that uh, it, it's so easy and natural for me that it's gotten me into sticky scenarios where I haven't known what is mine to hold and what it is that is important to share or context that matters. And again, when we first met, Burning Man 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago now, I mean, another profound moment. Like that's what happens when I'm around Jordan Rahme. I have profound moments. And when everything's just like flowing and vibing, we have ecstatic play, some of the most fun ever. And when it's not, there's this deep, soulful accountability and reflection and clarity that you can bring because you do see me and everyone on such a clear soul level and what activates within them. And so, bro, that's what I want. I don't want to live some muted, sedated life that's barely got ups and downs. Like, give me the polarity. Give me the strength to be able to hold even more polarity, to be able to play and dance and move and flow, and also do push-ups and run up the hill this morning, front, back, side to side, all this training, preparation for Peru, going to the mountains, the masculine, like teaching, learning, growing, sharing, thriving. That's why it's 2020 Thrive, baby.
on one right there. That's a good rip.
You
Yeah, I feel
bringing
that.
out of me, bro. Like that's what I love about our dynamics. And I am experiencing this with more and more souls. Like the inner circle is actually growing and it's simultaneously getting tighter. Like there's different tiers of inner circle now. And, tier one to me means actually being proactive on all of these areas. So a tier two person might be interested in hearing the reflection, but didn't have any foresight going in, didn't see that this could be damaging to the tribe or to the relationship dynamic, right? And so if there's no thought, it's still a lot of Prince energy. But the tier one is that kingly, that kingship, right? Where I'm a steward in service and in support. And so I want you to be living your best life, being your best, most expressed self, right? And I've got to experience you when you're in that thriving music, playing, co-creating, like such giddy energy. And also that very firm, very masculine. Like we're laying bricks here. It's dope.
Yeah, it's cool that you've experienced that full polarity spectrum of me. because you've seen my leadership. And when there's a serious matter at hand, I bring a seriousness to the table. That's what's required. And there's this other part of me that's like, like I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends, dude. I always want to play this bass flip right now and go crazy. Look at my homies getting down.
Dude, your
Both
face.
them sides. Right? That elated, joyful little boy in me.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
It's
been
mission
some.
critical, bro. Mission critical. We have to unlock that inner boy, that inner child, right? The inner woman, whatever. We need that. That's that
Yeah.
life force, that like 5, 6-year-old self that was unrestricted, unabated by what other people thought, right? If
Yeah.
life is lived without that, it sucks in my
Yeah.
experience. But too much of that, and it's just being a little boy all the time, and shit don't get done.
I had a big realization going through an internal process last month where, Mary Margrave, it's like older woman, intuitive channel, part of the Fit for Service crew.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure specifically.
I did a call with her back in 2021, and I was called to re-listen to it last month, and it brought so much up for me. Right. One of the things that I thought was hilarious too is she was talking about crypto. She was talking about crypto and specifically XRP.
What?
Back in XRP and XLM, and there was
a little bit of XRP, baby. Look at that. I'd be sticking.
XRP's a different breed right now, but without the crypto piece yet. So Mary Margrave, listening to that call, and we dug into my childhood, and she says, "I'm looking at you, and you look to be about 8 years old." And I go, "Huh, that's when my life fell apart. When I was 8, that's when it was the year leading into my parents' divorce. So my reality was ripped inside out that year. And that sweet, innocent little Jordy who just wanted to play with friends and talk about stuff and just a little nerd and just wanted everybody to get along, entered into this like violent atmosphere. And there wasn't often physical violence, but there was enough that I am still working through a lot of these traumas. I just had a memory of my dad storming into my bedroom one day when I was a kid, and there was something going on the main level. And I wasn't one to talk back at that point. All right. My survival mechanism was be perfect, do as you're told, and you won't get your ass beat. You won't get yelled at. Right. That was my survival mechanism. And whatever was going on, I didn't feel safe. So what did I do? I retreated to my bedroom. Right. Cornered myself in a safe place. And then my dad burst open that room and like came at me, like finger in my face, screaming at me. And I had nowhere to go. It literally was hold on for dear life, endure this experience until he chooses that it's over. And once he's finished with me, he'll leave and I can recover. When she brought up my 8-year-old, that was when real trauma started in my life. So there is that 8-year-old within me, like a Polaroid, like a snapshot frozen in time within me. And that's the idea of internal family systems. That 8-year-old is locked, frozen, lives, appears at times inside a grown man's body. And when she presents that, it brought me into this multi-layered realization that eventually, to skip kind of the boring details, comes out to My highest expression, my fullest embodiment as a man is to become exactly the man, the father, the leader that I needed when I was that 8-year-old boy. That's the North Pole. That's my aspiration. That's my ideal. You have a different one. Joe Hawley, Jay Bird, they all have different experiences and different masculine figures that they needed when they were children, when you were a child. So my quest, my focus, my North Pole that guides me is becoming the man, the father, the husband that was needed when I was a child. That is the antidote. We talk about being the medicine. That's the medicine. That's the sauce. That's the panacea. So each of our work as men is to understand, okay, well, what is that version? For me, it was strength with gentleness. That's the biggest part, is there's still play, there's silliness, there's joy, right? Playful dad. I went through a whole phase of life where I'm like, I got to step into some dad shit, but I'm going to be playful dad. And that's a big part of what it is. You don't want your dad to just tell you what to do and correct your behavior, coming back to the polarity dynamics. You want dad to be fun, warm, inviting, safe. And we as men get to look at, have I been warm, inviting, safe, stable, mature? And if not, we get to own up, recognize we're all whips. We're all works in progress. And the next progress that gets to be made for the new iteration of a song, new iteration of a self, right? V_35 gets to look more like this. And that's a huge season that I am in right now, is seasons are changing, priorities are changing, I'm changing, which means my behaviors, my decisions, my relationships get to change accordingly to align to the path that I want to walk towards. And that means tough decisions. That means tough discernments, but it's necessary. And one of those things, bringing it all the way back full circle, is deprioritizing liquid gold, music, the muse, the artist in me, the feminine, deprioritizing them and prioritizing the masculine, prioritizing my leadership, my providership, my guidance, my stability, my rootedness. A huge breakthrough that I've had recently, because I don't think many of us have been shown true, conscious, unconditionally loving romantic partnership. I don't really have many
You talking
examples.
about a unicorn?
Bro. So a way that I grew up is there isn't a cherishing of the woman. I come from a Lebanese immigrant family. So the women have a traditional role of you cook, you clean, you raise the kids. The husband doesn't come home and give a sweet kiss to his wife, nibbles on her neck, rubs her feet before bed. That's not the dynamic that takes place here. So an integration that I'm experiencing is recognizing the way that I have learned men show up for their partners is not how I actually want to show up for mine.
Mhm.
And when you bring that 8-year-old boy into the equation, that 8-year-old boy is so innocent and sweet and silly and playful and kind and generous. And at the end of the day, just wants everybody to get along. But the story and the examples that I've seen are different. So as I'm in this process of healing my masculinity and how I want to show up as a man, specifically in partnership, is recognizing that bossing my chick around, arguing, bickering, that is an old paradigm. That is combative and competitive. When the reality is I want to worship my woman. I want to obsess about her.
Yes.
And this is a change in paradigm, because in the spiritual, this new age spirituality, it's about homogeneity. Right? Like the men are a mix of feminine and masculine, and the women are a mix of feminine and masculine, and we're all sort of this trans population, gender neutrality. Right? It doesn't matter what vessel your body's in, which dictates certain biological factors. It's like we all show up the same way. Men, women play the same roles. That's a big part of how I see new age spirituality, which means men are over effeminate and women are over masculine. And what we're shifting into collectively, and it's even happening politically, again, whether you hate it, you love it, you're terrified, you're excited, there is a shift in energetics taking place politically. And it's shifting out of this liberal place of rapid change, rapid evolution, fast as possible at all costs. And we're collectively pumping the brakes a little bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. And we're noticing that in our individual dynamics. And as I tie up that point, it's this recognition that I have not seen many men worship their woman in relationship, to prioritize her nervous system above all else. And that's a huge realization that's come through for me, is that the greatest gift a man can give his woman is to soothe her nervous system and carry her bags. But for real,
A little chivalry in there.
yet women don't need us to fix them, to tell them what we think they need to do differently. Right? That's criticism. Coming back to how men and women grow. Women grow through positive affirmation. I love the way you take care of yourself. Oh, your body is amazing. Oh, I love your sweet lips. I love to touch you. I love to hold you. I appreciate, I value. That's not us telling the feminine to do anything different. It's not us correcting them. That's us trusting them and supporting, acknowledging, validating. And what they get to do for us is tell us where we ain't showing up, where we could be better. And yes, a mix, but I bring this up romantically because I've seen so many combative, competitive relationships where the polarity is off balance and both sides are too far in the middle. But what about those relationships where the man carries the bags all the time? The man opens the door for his woman, right? Where equality, polarizing as this may sound, what I'm about to say next, maybe equality isn't what's best. Maybe I don't want my chick to open up the door for me as much as I open the door for her. I don't want equal.
Absolutely.
I want balancing opposites. So
Bingo.
that's the relationship that I want. And it's challenging because the path of least resistance for me is you do you, I do me, everybody for themselves. But when I integrate that 8-year-old boy and expand into my ideal man as a outcropping of that 8-year-old boy. What I actually want to do is pour love and affection and admiration into my woman at a borderline obnoxious rate. God, I just love you so much. You're like a little puppy dog to me. I just like squeal inside. I love you so much. And rereading The Way of the Superior Man, he talks about if men can give up their feminine to their partner, they get to experience feminine energy through the expression of their partner, as opposed to needing to experience that feminine energy through expressing it themselves. An example is, the guy is in the mirror, like primping, dressing up. He's so focused on the idea of narcissist. Narcissus was obsessed with his complexion. He looks into the river and he's just overcome with his own beauty, his own radiance. But what if men, instead of focusing on their own beauty, their own radiance, primping and looking as best as they can, what if instead they were a witness to their woman's radiance, to their woman's beauty? Because I'll tell you what, I would much rather stare at my dream woman than stare at myself. Period. Is that a horn?
That's
There
the one
it
I was
is.
looking for, bro. But I was
There it is.
out of my element.
There it is. Yeah, we were gripped. So, yeah, man, it's a season of change. It's a season of change individually, collectively, politically, energetically, culturally, financially. And it's funny because we originally scheduled this talk to talk about finances and crypto and a lot of what I'm working on and building. But instead, as we do, we get into that real and that deep. And I'm super appreciative of that. And me being that masculine figure that I choose to be is overcoming these stories, my belief system around sales, marketing, advertising, promotion. Coming from an immigrant family, a lot of the intention and the energy was about taking from others. All right, how can I sell you this piece of shit vehicle for as much as possible? Because that's the game. Right. So a limiting belief that is embedded in me that I've done an excellent job of dislodging. I'm not finished, but I've made a lot of progress, and it's my next phase of growth, is recognizing that offering, providing, selling, promoting something that you believe in is your job. Because if you can help somebody transform their lives, transform their heart, transform their finances, then it's your job to be a stand for the change that you can support them with. To overcome this fear of, I can't ask for money. I can't promote this thing that I actually believe in. And the recognition is, if you got something of value, it's your job to be a stand for that value. Whether it's yourself, whether it's your business, whether it's your partner, be a stand for that value. So with a lot of these changes that have been taking place within me, shift in priorities has been coming back to the grassroots of evolved humanity, where originally that was Evolved Masculine, which was a series of men's retreats, which were amazing. And they also were the Prince version of me who didn't know how to run a business profitably. So I lost 5 figures on both my retreats and put myself at a significant disadvantage because it was unsustainable. And it scared me. So I took a huge step back And with this recent change of, I want liquid gold and music to be more of a hobby, an artistic expression that's not creatively hindered, that's not being squeezed to fund my life financially. Well, what's actually on my dharmic path? What's actually deeply rooted in my masculine leadership? My refinement of expertise, wisdom, experience that's packaged into an offering that's digestible, potent, to the point, and actually supports people with taking action in their lives. Because learning something intellectually doesn't do shit. We have to be able to make that change. So that's been the big change within me, is relaunching as Evolved Humanity, assembling a team that I get to be supported by in my vision with their input. I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a micromanager. I want to find good people, uplift them, resource them, support them so they can thrive, because their thriving directly impacts the thriving of the business, which helps me thrive. So in this relaunch, the first piece, the first offering that we're launching is a course on crypto and the future of finance. And the idea behind this is crypto. You heard of it. You might be involved. You might want to be involved. It's complicated. I don't know where to start. Overwhelmed. Dope. We come in, teach a 4-week course on the relevance of crypto. Why crypto? Why now? Trump's going to be inaugurated as president by the time that this gets released. He just released Trump coin last night, and it got tens of billions of dollars of liquidity instantly. There was a guy who put in, what was the number? I think like $800 and made millions within minutes. And I'm not saying that's realistic. I'm not going to tell you when the next thing is. But point being, the ways of making money and growing wealth are completely different these days. We can leverage AI to support with a lot of the menial tasks. Entrepreneurship is easier than ever before. Building a personal brand is more accessible than ever before. Crypto is a modality that can turn a little bit of wealth into a lot more wealth if done responsibly and effectively. Everybody, I believe, wants to be healthy, wants to be happy, wants to be wealthy. And we have the ability to do it in ways that weren't possible 5, 10, or more years ago. So I was going to talk more about crypto and finance, but for time's sake, I ain't going into that. But specifically what we're doing here and what the point of this is helping people understand the relevance of crypto, why you should care, why it's here, where it's going, and taking us a layer deeper into the psychology of money, our relationship with money. Do you worship money as the God metric? Is money an extension of your value as a human? Is money the root of all evil? This unconscious belief system that money is bad, thus repelling it and staying broke? Or do you worship money above all else? You will sacrifice your dignity, your integrity, your relationships for money. That's a key element of this course, not just here's how to buy crypto, but what's your relationship with money and finances as a whole. So who this is for are people who want to make more money on their own schedule, independently, not working for other people, heal their relationship with money, whether it's unhealthily, aggrandized or it's demonized. Both toxic relationships with the essence of money as an intelligent entity. And specifically, more tangibly, is I've heard of this crypto thing. I want to get on board. I don't know where to start. I know it's important. I know it's coming, but I don't got time. I'm overwhelmed. Cool. How about you have people that have 5+ years of experience in the space. And then my partner, Alex, who's got 8 years of experience in the space and is a financial advisor, deeply rooted in all things money and wealth and finance, and be able to come in, learn what you need to know and no more. This isn't some boring textbook masterclass where you learn all things finance. Nobody got time for that. Tell me what I need to know, how to get involved, how to be responsible, and how I can make more money on my own. That's who this is for. So we originally planned on talking more about it, but we talked about exactly what we needed to talk about, the real shit. And me doing my job is bringing this to the table. If you want support with your finances, if you want to understand the options you have at your disposal today that you didn't have 5, 10+ years ago, consider checking this course out. At a minimum, follow Evolved Humanity on Instagram, check out TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We're going to be pumping out this short form content. If that's enough for you, just check it out. It's going to give you information. Subscribe to the newsletter where we're going to deeper dive, and we're going to have some deals that are only available in the newsletter. And if you really want to make changes in your life, your relationship with money, making more money, join this course. Check it out. Because we have refined it into a potent syrup that doesn't waste your time. It's what you need to know, period.
Mic drop. All right. Where do we follow up with this? Is it evolvedhumanity.com?
No, somebody got the URL already.
Surprise.
I know. So subscribe to the newsletter, and we have our landing page. We'll drop that in the show notes as well, so people can find the link to follow social media, subscribe to the newsletter, and actually enroll into the program itself. So we'll drop that in the show notes. And, the way that I would tie it up, what's the central theme of everything that we've talked about? It's healing and integrating masculinity as men. We have been in a time of weak men make hard times. And we get to be the strong men that are created from hard times. Take ownership. Yes, feel your emotions, express your emotions. But at a certain point, keep your emotions out of it. As a man, you're disturbing the energy. You're disturbing the women's nervous systems by your need to be seen. We need salt of the earth men who provide. That's a big piece of this course, is a new way of providing resources for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones. We get to provide. We get to protect. We get to nurture our women and our children. And we get to make that paradigm shift. We get to help lead it. And we get to be the full embodiment of it. Because talk is cheap. Shut up, be about it. So this is my story. This is where I'm at. And this is my way of leaning into my purpose, my dharma, my passion, and my competence. I love it. I'm good at it. It's valuable. I want to do it. People want to hear about it. The feedback we've already gotten has been super positive because people want this. They want to learn more. So it's me doing my part, leaning in, stepping forward. And I want to support not just men in doing the same, but this evolved humanity, right? Humanity as a species. We get to evolve. We get to grow. We get to progress. We get to mature. We get to be that ideal version that our little kid wanted. We get to have the relationship of our dreams with completely unrealistic expectations. We can be happy, fulfilled, wealthy, passionate. It's literally possible. And I will not stop at anything less than that. And I recognize how unrealistic that sounds. That's okay. But I know the love that is available and the romantic partnership that I can have. And I will not settle for anything less. I know the sort of wealth I want in my life, which creates freedom, structure, and stability for myself and my loved ones. I will not settle for anything less. No, I have a very high standard. There's nothing wrong with that. And I seek to be with people who also have high standards. And if you don't, that's okay. But if you do, make sure you surround yourself with people that have similar values, similar standards, similar ethics, because you're going to become like them. That's why community is so important.
Yes.
If you ain't got one, find yourself one. Find yourself a good one. Maybe check ours out.
That's right.
Okay.
Furnace is lit, my brother. Thanks so much. Coming on, expressing your soul, sharing your heart, refining that masculine, that hammer, that chisel, coming in here, just always bringing so much value, bro. Such a privilege, such an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, as always, for having me. I feel like we always catch a pocket when we drop in. And sometimes it's unexpected, but it's always potent. It's always juicy. And I just want to give you the acknowledgement that you deserve, all the work that you're putting in, creating this platform and putting these messages out, giving me the opportunity to show up, express myself. This is such a powerful way that you get to amplify the voices and the energy and the messages of those that you believe in.
Mm.
This is you embracing that healed masculinity, the solid foundation upon which those you believe in can thrive.
Mm.
That's what a good father does. And I see you. I see you, bro. I love
All
you.
right. How does the listener get in touch with you?
Social media, Liquid Gold Music on Instagram and TikTok. That's where I'm talking more music stuff, Evolved Humanity, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're going to drop in the show notes how to be able to sign up, stay up to date with all the happenings, the offerings, and just sharing knowledge and whatnot. Those are the best ways to get in touch and follow along. And yeah, if anything lands with you, if you felt moved or impacted, send me a DM. Send me a message. I want to hear what landed with you, what activated within you, what sort of impact was made. I want to hear this. Because sometimes, is this landing? Is this connecting? And there's deep faith that it is. But to hear tangible feedback in the world gives us as men cookies in the cookie jar, as David Goggins calls it, right? It tells us what you are doing matters. What you are doing is helping. Keep going. So give me the gift of support by letting me know if this touched you, moved you, impacted you. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to open up some dialogue about it. Yeah, brother.
All right, brother. Until the next time, peace and love, bro.
Yeah, brother.
You did it. Thank you so much for tuning all the way in. My heart goes out to you. This is why I do it. This is why we do it. We are here to call each other forward, to lift each other, to share the gems, the wisdom, whatever it is that is going to help the next person to ascend a little bit further, have a little less pain, a little more passion, a little more purpose, and a little more play, baby. So if you'd like to learn more, get some catalyst coaching in your life, ascendwithty.com and at Tyler the Drake on all social media platforms. Please tag me, share this with somebody that it's going to make a huge difference in. You already know there's so many gems. And if you just pick out one piece and share it with that one person, then our mission is complete. Thank you so much, and talk to you soon.